Let me say this. The next speaker that we're about to bring up, if you've never, ever had the privilege of hearing this amazing icon, grab a mic, go ahead and get your emotional inhalers, go ahead and get your tissue, start crying, the purging, because we're in for a treat. Dr. George Fraser is the chairman and CEO of FraserNet, a company that he founded over 32 years ago. He is the author of 6 best-selling books. Dr. Fraser has been featured on the cover of 7 magazine covers. He, in 2016, was named by President Barack Obama as the President's Lifetime Achievement Award. Dr. Fraser is an elder who has used his influence and massive network around the country to create a movement called Fraser Nation. And it is a movement. Help me bring to the 2019 Speakercon stage, Dr. George Fraser.
So I had 40 ounces of water, and I need to go to the bathroom. And I have a very special way of getting my sugar, my daily sugar. There's Linda Clemens over here, our director of sales and training. When I kiss her, that's my sugar for the day. Before I leave in the morning, my wife of 46 years, yes, I've been married to the same sister for 46 years, I kissed her and I get my sugar. I was looking for Cheryl. I was hoping that she would be up here because I wanted to kiss her to get my sugar before I give my talk. But anyway, we love Cheryl. Cheryl is one of the top speakers at the Power Networking Conference, along with Linda and several others. I think Uncle Frank is in the audience. Uncle Frank, good to see you from Atlanta. So I want to start backwards. I've got 30 minutes. I want to start backwards because at 3:15 I'm going to roll up out of here. I've got to fly to Dallas to give a talk at 10 o'clock in the morning at Friendship West Baptist Church for Reverend Dr. Freddie Haynes, who closes our talk and closes out, our conference every year. So I have to do that, but I'm coming back. So I do that at 10 o'clock in the morning. I got a flight out of there at 3 o'clock. I'll be back here by 6 o'clock for the big event on Saturday night. So I just wanted you to know that. So for those of you that were smart enough to get pictures while I was trying to cool it in the back, that was brilliant. But I'll be back if you want to take a picture tomorrow, so have no fear. The other thing I want to do sort of backwards is I want to encourage, all of you should have a Power Networking Conference flyer for next year with Boyce Watkins will be featured next year. As you know, Damon John was featured this year. Several of the brothers and sisters in the room will be speaking at the conference. So I want you to sign up for the conference. I will not be here to collect, because all you have to do is fill out the form in the back. But Linda Clemens will be here. You can give them to Cheryl. I'll be back tomorrow, so you can give them to me if you want to. But I really encourage you. We're talking about a conference where Forbes magazine called one of the top 5 conferences in America not to be missed. Over 1,000 attendees, over 50 speakers, 40 workshops for intensive learning, 30 interactive spaces, 2 stages, 4 meals, and 1 amazing experience, a life-changing experience. So here's the offer, and then I want to go into my talk. To come to our conference is $1,500, $1,495 is an adult registration. if you met one person that could help change the trajectory of your life, would that be worth $1,500? Hell to the yes, no question about it. This is our 19th conference. You don't put on 19 conferences with 1,000 or more black people unless it's saying something. And black people will put your ass out of business. Well, if you ain't doing it right. So, this is our 19th one. We encourage it all adults from now on in our culture. Bring a young person with them so they can sit at the feet of masters and elders and learn, and they sit next to you. A student registration is $800. So together, $1,500, $800, that's $2,300. So we're going to reduce that package for those of you in the room. This is just for those of you in the room. This is not for anyone else, unless of course you have a significant other that is not in the room. That's different. But we're going to reduce that package from $2,400 to $499. That includes a full registration for you and a full registration for a young person. $499. That's an $1,800 discount for being smart enough to participate in Speakercon and support the phenomenal show. So please, that's the offer, and all you need to do is fill out the information in the back and give that to Linda Clemens, who is the Power Networking Conference Director of Training and the Director of Sales. So that is my personal self-promotion. I apologize for that. I didn't want to end on that note. So let me begin with the message I have for you today. But I always begin with a prayer. I want to begin with a very short prayer. Today, dear Lord, alleviate the unnecessary, interrupt the annoying, upset the status quo, assign more angels, usher in more miracles, and overthrow everything that is average. Black people cannot be average. Our mothers told us years ago, I'm 75, I know I look 35 or 40. If you're black, don't crack. And for those of you who are wondering, yes, I am black. Sure. We cannot be average. We have to be twice as good to get half as much. If you're black and mediocre in America, you better leave, because you're going to be marginalized and you will ultimately be destroyed. We cannot be average, and that is what Fraser Nation, a new nation that we launched at the Power Networking Conference in June of this year. It is about focusing on black excellence, impeccable character, and the intergenerational transfer of wealth. That's what our nation is about. If you're interested in applying for a citizen of our nation, there is a little flyer that says Fraser Nation on it. If you are interested in applying, remember, you apply for citizen. This is not a membership-based nation. You don't become a member of the United States of America. You become a citizen, the same thing. So that is available for you as well. We cannot be mediocre. We must be excellent. Number two, in case no one told you, I'm going to tell you. The future of black people is not dependent upon how white people treat black people. The future of black people will be dependent upon how black people treat black people. We are in control of our lives. There is no one that is going to save us but us. White people will not be saving black people, in case no one has told you. In fact, white people are not even thinking about black people. Do you know who white people are thinking about? White people. They're thinking about their husbands, their wives, their neighborhoods, their schools, their businesses. That's what they're thinking about first. And you cannot hate on them for that, because that's what we ought to be thinking about first. Asians ain't thinking about us. They're thinking about Asians. In fact, Asians have solved their own unemployment problem opening small Asian restaurants in black communities. In fact, if you go into an Asian restaurant and there are 4 brothers waiting on you, leave. That is not a real Asian restaurant. Asians do not employ black people. They employ Asian people. And you cannot hate on them for that, because that's what we must be doing.
Thank you.
That's point number 2. Point number 3, we are all drinking from wells that we did not dig. Let me repeat that for you. We are all drinking from wells that we did not dig. We are standing on the shoulders of giants who have paved the way for us to be sitting in a room like this. So the question, when we understand that, is this: are we worthy of our legacy? And if you feel that we are worthy of our legacy, what then will be our legacy? What will our children's children be saying about us 150 years from now? Are we worthy of that legacy? Many years ago, J. Edgar Hoover, the former FBI director, was asked at a conference, what is the most pressing problem in the United States? He gave a 2-word answer. Google this. He said, Negro unity. Negro unity. Well, he's absolutely right. When we get our act together, when we understand how powerful and important and magnificent we are, when we reduce the race esteem in our culture,
Thank you.
which is driven by low self-esteem.
Yeah. Thank you.
You see, when I look in the mirror in the morning and I do not like what I see, there is no way that I can like you, because you become a reflection of me. That's called low race esteem. That's driven by low self-esteem. This is one of the reasons we don't do what we ought to be doing, to connect the dots and to leverage more effectively our collective resources and intellectual capital. So the time has come. That was then, and this is now. We are an awesome and powerful people. We are the children of the slaves that would not die. That we have the genetic encoding of the great kings and queens of Africa. That we were building pyramids and solving complex engineering problems with other cultures that were living in caves, eating each other. This is the truth. And in spite of the fact that America kept its foot on our throat for 350 years, we overcame that and we rose like the phoenix. We are an awesome and powerful people, except we have forgotten that we have forgotten who we are. So if everything happens for a reason and serves us in some special way, and we will never understand that reason looking forward, and we will only understand it looking backwards, if that is in fact the truth, maybe we were not brought here. Maybe we were sent here. Do you believe that God would put his weakest people here to do his toughest job? I don't think so. How could an America who could morally, spiritually, and biblically justify the kidnapping, raping, and pillaging of another 2 people, natives already in America, and Africans brought to America, have any moral or spiritual grounding? And perhaps had God not sent us here, America might have self-destructed by now. We are an awesome and powerful people. I read to you, because I have not memorized it, an editorial I wrote for a major newspaper. I believe that African Americans are at a pivotal point in history. The world is not waiting for us to wake up to our power. And it is time for African Americans to take a seat at the table, not only in America, but in the global economy. Unfortunately, we continue to place our power in the hands of those who have historically oppressed us, and even worse, we continue to oppress each other. This is the meaning of internalized oppression, to continue to fall into the cultural hypnosis of thinking that white America controls our lives is a true abdication of our personal power. Marcus Garvey said, and I quote Marcus Garvey, God and nature first made us what we are, and then out of our own created genius, we make ourselves what we want to be. Follow always that great law. Let the sky and God be our limit, and eternity our measurement. End quote. Marcus Garvey. The reality, brothers and sisters, is that each and every day is an opportunity to create a new and powerful story in our culture. And unless we find a way to write this new story and to claim our power, there will be devastating implications for our community and for the world. In other words, there is no one to save us but us. It was Frederick Douglass who said, and I quote, "I prayed for 20 years but received no answer until I prayed with my legs." The fantastic news is that as people of African descent, we possess enormous untapped creativity and potential as individuals and as a collective network. W.E.B. Du Bois said, and I quote Du Bois, "A little less complaint and whining and a little more dogged work and striving would do us more credit than 1,000 civil rights bills." And he spent his entire life fighting for civil rights. Malcolm said, "Nobody can give you freedom. Nobody can give you equality or justice or anything. If you are a man, if you are a woman, you take it." Therefore, once we fully tap into what makes us tick, what unleashes performance in our culture, only then will we assume our rightful place on the global stage. It is nation building time. We are no longer in the age of persuasion. We are now in the age of mobilization and unification, brothers and sisters. Dr. King said, "Take the first step in faith. You don't have to see the whole staircase, just take the step." End of quote. There will be obstacles. Obstacles are good. Amen. Dr. Amos Wilson, if you do not know who he is, Google him or go on YouTube and search for him and watch everything he said before he died. He said, "Our refusal as black people to confront the issue of money and wealth is going to end up with our very lives being threatened as people on this earth." Dr. Amos Wilson. He continued on to say, "Only when you look at yourself as a nation can you change things." So I want to say the next things and still be loved. You cannot be black and beautiful. It means nothing in this world unless you're black and powerful. You cannot be black and proud and niggas too. White folks are planning for 3 generations and we're planning for Saturday night. Economics must become the new black power. And the goal here is to win, brothers and sisters, not to look like we're winning. I would rather carry a plastic bag with $5,000 in it than to carry a $5,000 Louis Vuitton bag with $100 in it. Louis is winning. If nothing changes among our people, because we're at the bottom of every single economic statistic that matters in America, as War said in their classic song, we are slipping into darkness. In the last 50 years, we have gone backwards. Since Malcolm and Martin was killed, we have gone backwards. 2017 of April, the Institute of Policy Study put out a 300-page report on the economic state of black America. It was a warning sign. Nobody read that report. I think I was the only one that read it because I quoted the final paragraph in that report for the last 2 years. Only in the last 2 months has this final paragraph finally reached social media. And here's the final paragraph. If nothing changes among African Americans, by 2053, just 10 years after the country is projected to become majority non-white, black median families will own 0 wealth if current trends continue. White median families will continue to own 6 figures, $247,500. In other words, in the next 32 years, unless we do something drastically different, we will have worked our way into a second slavery. We must embrace the concept of economics being the new black power. We must engage in financial education and financial literacy, and it must be faith-based. There's no reason it should not be faith-based. There are 2,300 verses in the Bible on money, wealth, and possessions. 15% of the words Jesus spoke was about money, wealth, and possessions. 11 of his verses, Jesus' 39 verses, are about money, wealth, and possessions. This is critical. If you wanted to narrow down what we need to be studying as it relates to money, wealth, and possessions, I call them the 4 pillars for the intergenerational transfer of wealth. There are many more lessons we need to learn, but there are 4 pillars. The first is the proper management of accumulated wealth, so that we can stop reading about athletes and entertainers who earn $100 million in their career, and within 5 years of retirement, they're either broke or in bankruptcy. That's the improper management of accumulated wealth. There are 35,000 black millionaires in this country, 2.2 million black households worth $400,000 or more. The question is that wealth being properly managed? And the answer is hell to the no. You make widgets. You're an expert in widget making. You make thousands of dollars making widgets, hundreds of thousands of dollars, maybe even millions of dollars making widgets. God bless you. You're an expert widget maker. But you don't know how to put your money to work harder for you than you did for it. There are people who have spent their lives doing exactly that, figuring out that. LeBron James, who is a friend of mine, I'm from Cleveland, I live in Cleveland. LeBron makes $40+ million a year. Baddest basketball player on the planet. Guess who manages LeBron's money? Warren Buffett. If you gave Warren Buffett a 12-foot ladder and a basketball, he couldn't dunk it. He doesn't know anything about basketball. He doesn't even care about basketball. He knows everything about managing money. So LeBron is properly managing his money by giving it to someone who can't play basketball, doesn't even like it, but can manage the hell out of money. You need to do the same. You don't have to have billions. Manage what you have better. And get someone that knows how to do that. What is the second pillar for the intergenerational transfer of wealth? Real estate. What is the first thing God gave Adam? Real estate. What's the first thing God gave Isaac? Real estate, real estate, real estate. We came over here on the Mayflower. And we own the fewest number of homes per capita of any cultural group in this country. Real estate. Real estate. What is the third pillar for the intergenerational transfer of wealth? Business ownership. By the end of the 21st century, black people must become the #1 employer of their own people. 97% of us have jobs. We grew up with the mantra, get a good education and get a good job, and therefore 97% of us have jobs. Every immigrant group that has ever come to this country has understood that you must create work and jobs for your own people. Jews are the #1 employer of Jews. Asians are the #1 employer of Asians. East Indians are the #1 employer of East Indians. Arabs are the #1 employer of Arabs. This is why their household median wealth is considerably more than ours, and we came over here on the Mayflower. Most of them own businesses. In America, 2 things are going on 24/7. Somebody's buying and somebody's selling. Stop doing all the damn buying. We are the consumption class. That's who we are. Black people are the consumption class, and they are the merchant class. They make stuff, we buy stuff. We need to flip the script. Sell something. Stop doing all the damn buying. If you bake cookies, put them in a box and sell it to somebody. If you live on a farm, take the manure, put it in a bag, put your name on it, and sell it to somebody. You can become an entrepreneur, okay? Stop doing all the damn buying and sell something. There are 3,000 new small businesses started every day in this country. Black women start 89% of them, according to the new Census Bureau statistics. Black women start 89% of all the new businesses started in this country every day. I don't know what we would do without black women. I really don't. blindfold you on one thing, my brothers and sisters, especially my sisters. I love black women. I've been married to one for 46 years. I don't know what I would do without her. But we cannot have our women raising our men. Now, y'all doing the best you can, and I love you for it, and many do an incredible job, but fundamentally that is against all biblical principles. That is not how a family is constructed. You need male energy and female energy to raise children. We need to fix that. Again, we are an awesome and powerful people. We have overcome like no other culture has overcome. There's something special about our grit, about our character, about our tenacity. Although we are outside of our spiritual teachings, Proverbs 13:21 tells us what? A good man leaves an inheritance to his children's children. We are an awesome and powerful people. We have grit. I'm going to close with 2 points. My favorite quote outside of the Bible is from Marcus Aurelius. Marcus Aurelius was one of the 5 great Caesars. It was Marcus Aurelius who said in 160 AD, "The impediment to action advances the action. What stands in the way becomes the way." Let me repeat that for you. I went a mile deep on you on that one, but I'm going to repeat it for you. The impediment to action advances the action. What stands in the way becomes the way. Let me say it simply. The obstacle is the way. Where there is no obstacle, there is no way. What is the first thing God does when he gives you an assignment he feels that you are worthy of? He immediately puts an obstacle in your way. And your job is to find a way over, around, through, or under the obstacle. And when you do, you get an attaboy or an attagirl, and then you're given a new assignment at a slightly higher level. And what does God immediately do? He puts an obstacle in your way. And your job is to find a way over, around, through, and under the obstacle. If you do not, that's where you remain until you find a way. What are obstacles? What is failure? It is where the lessons are. There is more lessons in obstacles and failure than there is in success. You must learn how to overcome each obstacle at whatever level you are. And if you don't, you ain't going any further. If you can't manage $100, why would I give you $1 million? My sisters, I give you some advice. If you can't build with them, don't chill with them. Remember that life is like a camera. Let me say that again. Life is like a camera. You focus on what's important, you capture the good times, you develop from the negatives, and if things don't work, you take another shot. I close with some good news. The New England Journal of Medicine 2 months ago came out with a massive study on the most productive periods of our lives. And it found that the most productive period of our lives is between 70 and 80. The second most productive period of your life, according to the New England Journal of Medicine, is between 60 and 70. The third most productive is between 50 and 60. This gives you enough time to overcome obstacles, to learn lessons, to get past failure. I tell people all the time, I've failed my way to success. I'm 70, nearly 75 years old, and this is the most productive period of my life. Frank Lloyd Wright, one of the most iconic architects on the planet, did his magnum opus building at 91. 91. So you ain't seen nothing yet. You just practicing for the most productive period of your life. Embrace obstacles, embrace failure, learn those lessons, and prepare yourself for the best years of your life. They're in front of you. That's my story, and I'm sticking.